I don't know about your family, but my family is really looking forward to Christmas, partly because it means kind of a break for all of us, a break from work and a break for our kids from kind of the routine. And this kind of begs the question, is the routine of school and kind of the rhythm that we have within a 5-day week really what's best for kids? There's some schools that have been going to a 4-day work week, really to give kids an opportunity to do some different kind of work at home and also to give teachers a break, to give teachers a day of professional development. It's an interesting approach, and Dr. Kathy has some important insights for us as we consider this topic. So let's turn now to Dr. Kathy Cook.
Don't be afraid of the dark, be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby. Not every light is gonna guide you.
So Dr. Kathy, Superintendent Eugene Blaylock Jr. says there's been a shift to a 4-day school week in the Ohio school districts, and it's had a positive effect on teacher wellness. He says that it's too early to assess academic effects, but survey responses reveal overwhelming teacher support for the change, with Mondays dedicated to professional development and preparation while students work independently at home or in district-provided childcare settings. What do you think of this type of a program, kind of that idea of a 4-day school week? Is it beneficial for students?
This is so fascinating. When you began, and I don't prep for this, so I'm as surprised as our viewers. So when you began to read this, I was questioning a lot until you said, on that Monday, the teachers are there and they're working and they're doing staff development and preparation. And then I'm like, yes, ding, ding. This is a winner, because teachers today are so overworked and have so much that they're expected to understand and then teach. They've got mental health issues and discipline issues and motivation issues, as well as academic. They got the gifted and the not gifted. And oh my goodness. So I'm picturing teachers who have a day to learn from people who know more than they do about something, to get caught up on lesson preparation and reading and good old-fashioned grading of papers. I think for the teacher, it's amazing. And if the teachers are refreshed and the teachers are equipped and the teachers feel confident, then of course it benefits the students. It also could mean that the students are more rested and they've got that day at home, or maybe they're in like the article says, a school-based opportunity. But yeah, I think the potential for students to have less stress and a break is good. Now, some people would say, but Kathy, then there's 3 days off in between learning. Don't they forget more? They get the whole summer off. So come on, let's not use that as a problem.
Yeah, I think there's a reality there. And when they have the whole summer off, there's a natural tendency for some families, our family included, to keep that academic rigor up, right? To carry it, to do things during the summer. But I've also heard of this kind of tendency inside of that, and we've experienced it ourselves, to almost kind of bring school home, where, whether it's a kind of a traditional school setting or a homeschool or a co-op setting, parents are pushed to make home like school. And so whatever the kids did at school, now we feel like there needs to be that same rigor or rhythm or kind of push to have that home mimic the things that are happening at school, so that kids don't kind of fall behind or lose kind of traction that they've had from the school year. But I do know that there are some education movements that really want to make home kind of a place of learning, almost like a school, where we're really trying to solve practical problems, right? Like, I have to fix the toilet, so I'm going to start using mathematics, or, we're going to write a letter to grandma, and so we have to learn different grammar. And I kind of like that, grammar for grandma, but I don't know if that's really here or there, right? What are your thoughts on the school model? Are we best served to make our homes a place of learning, or should we keep the rigor up at home to kind of mimic what's happening at school so our kids perform better in the classroom?
I want homes to be places of learning, not schools. I still want them to be homes where there's a more casual effect, where love reigns, where, moms and dads and kids have fun and they play together, pray together, and enjoy life. Certainly, for believers who have read the Holy Word of God, God declares in the Proverbs and elsewhere that learning is our life. And so, yes, the home should be a place of learning. And I think that two things that can be done while at home are to practice and rehearse. So things like, good old-fashioned math memorization, vocabulary definitions, spelling words, trying to find fun in different ways to practice, because in school there's not as much time for that. If your children especially struggle or are scared of those kinds of things, then find fun ways to practice and rehearse, handwriting and any number of things like that. And then the other thing that I'm really a fan of, though, is putting into practice the reality of what you've learned. So this idea that you use math to fix a toilet, I'm all over that. To use rulers and math to measure the table, to go to the store to buy a tablecloth that will fit for the Christmas season, that's going to be red or green or white. So they're using the skill, because one of the problems, again, in school is there's so much to be taught, and the emphasis on assessment, which I'm not a huge fan of for reasons we don't have time to go into, but they don't know why they're learning it. And then they drop out of school. So I think that's a huge idea, that we do a better job. What are the kids learning at school? This is an advantage of homeschooling. You know what they're learning, so you can help them apply it. If your children go off to school, you need to be asking, what are some things that you learned today, did today? What was a good favorite thing that you did today? What are you talking about in science class? Please remember, most of what happens in school does not come home in the backpack. So talk about the videos that we're watching, the discussions that were had, and see if you can help your kids relate those topics to the real world.
Yeah, Dr. Kathy, I think that's really a powerful way to look at it. And it kind of leads me to this final question I want to ask you today, because in a 4-day work week or a 4-day school week, there's natural kind of, I would say maybe romanticizing about it, right? We look at it to say, man, if I had time that wasn't controlled by someone else, oh, the things I would do, right? And we sprint probably. I don't know if anyone else is like this. Maybe this is just my problem, but I sprint to fill that time. I want to be effective and efficient. So now I'm going to fill all of my time with that. How important is it for kids to have a space where they don't have something planned or something kind of hanging over them? And what advice would you give to parents to create a space like that in the lives of their kids, or maybe even their homes, or maybe to advocate for it inside of a school setting?
Yes, yes, and yes. I just talked to some phenomenal parents last night of 9 kids who say that they're really concerned that their kids don't understand the benefit of boredom. And the 3 of us laugh that we would love to be bored for a day or an hour in a day. I'm glad I live on purpose, and I'm glad that there's a lot that's, asking of me. And yet there's a benefit of rest and boredom. And that's when creativity often lifts. Geniuses discovered great things when they were bored and just kind of looking around, and apple falls on his head and hello, gravity. I mean, so boredom and just sitting around resting, those are really good things. And the creativity, the discovery approach where kids get to, build and create. One of the things I'm really concerned about today, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Wayne, but how many of our young children today can't play school, or they can't play dress up. They can play games that are programmed for them. But I have tremendous memories of playing school with my stuffed animals and my dolls, and hello, I became a teacher of students. You might have memories of building with Legos and, taking things apart and putting them back together. And so that's good time where we just spontaneously do some stuff. Yeah, I'd love to advocate for that.
This topic has been something that's been at the fore of my mind for a number of weeks lately. It's partly because we've just been in this rhythm in our family of sports practices and homework and different activities in church and different events with friends. It just feels like we're kind of rushing. And there's this attitude that we can kind of get more done in a day because we're efficient people. So we have different techniques and technologies. But the conversation today reminded me of a special passage that I think is kind of special. It comes out of Genesis 2, and I want to begin reading at verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the 7th day, God had finished his work that he'd been doing. So on the 7th day, he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the 7th day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. I don't know about you, but there's something about this passage that just feels light and it feels refreshing. This reality that the whole earth, the heavens and the earth, were completed and the way that Moses records it is that they were completed in vast array. And here you have God that has created the entire world and looks out over it, and he rests from all his work. And he blesses that day and makes it holy or set apart from the other days. This is really hard in culture. It feels like it's hard. I don't know if it's really that hard or if we just feel like it's hard. We declare it to be hard. But there is something about putting down our work, putting down whether it's our technology, our techniques of approaching life and being more efficient, and just really sitting in the amazing reality that the Lord has created an incredible place for us to live. And to pause from all of the creating and the toil and the work and just to rest. I think building space for that for our families is somewhat of a challenge, but I think it's really important. And as we face dark times for our kids, sometimes the dark times are really the times that we're fighting to get to what we think might be light for us. A promotion or accolades or somebody recognizing the different work that we've done. And we think that in doing all of this hard work that there will be some light that shines on us. And maybe the light in the dark times is really just resting in the vast array of God's creation. Wouldn't that be an amazing gift to give your kids, especially during this holiday season? So we want to give you courage to do that. Do that. Spend time, build time, make time. Build a space for your kids to have rest this season. And I hope this podcast is an encouragement for you. And I want to thank you for listening to the Celebrate Kids podcast, this daily episode, Facing the Dark. On behalf of Dr. Kathy Cook, my name's Wayne Stender. Thanks for listening, and we're looking forward to seeing you here again tomorrow.